Activity Call Live. Now let's hear it for our special guest host, Mike Hartlieb.
Morning, Alliance family. How y'all doing today? It's Friday, December 6th, and you ought to be jacked up because guess what's happening next week? We're going to be in Dallas, baby. That's a big deal. Some of you are probably saying, why are you guys making such a big deal about this? Because it is a big deal. All right? And that's what the call is about today. Here's one of the reasons I love these family reunions and these conferences. You know, we call it a convention. That sounds. This is like it's a learning experience because every time I go, I grow, and I'm going to have a breakthrough every time I go to one of these things. And I am trying to convey to you how important this is, so we can get one more. What's one more mean? One more person. Like I have 3 guests on. Each one of these were one more. And they have impacted other people's lives because of one more. And the conference is going to be crazy because we're going to have a black tie affair. That's going to be sexy. Awards will be given out during that black tie affair. The leaderboards are being held back right now for the trip to Ireland. So if you're knocking on the door to Ireland, well, you're going to find out when we get there. And by the way, why do we think? How important is this? How important are these trips? Are these conferences? Well, it's important enough for Andy Albright's trying to bribe you to go. How's he trying to bribe me, Mike? Well, he's good. If you've never qualified for a trip, he's going to give you 40,000 points for each event that you attend. There's 4 events, 235,000 points, I believe the number is, to go to Sydney or to go to Australia or New Zealand, wherever we're going next. $160,000 of it, 160,000 points will be credited towards that number. So what's holding you back? So I'm going to ask you a question like this. If I was to tell you that if you got to Dallas this next weekend and we'd give you $1 million to go to Dallas next weekend, would you find a way to get there? Ask yourself that question, because we're making such a big deal about this because we know it's changed other people's life. The cruise points, the leaderboards, the black tie event, the whole 9 yards. Now, I got 3 guests on here, and I want to introduce you to you like this. I got this first guy. He's relatively new to our business. He's been to our conference. He's qualified. By the way, all 3 of these people have qualified for Ireland already. And I would like to introduce everybody to a stud. His name is Louis Salgato. Louis, light him up, baby. Let him know what conference has done for you, brother.
Thank you, Mike. What's going on, Alliance? What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Hope everybody's having a great day. I went to conference last year. I'm direct to Brian Rojas, and he's not only my brother-in-law, he's a really good friend of mine, and he had been trying to get me to go to conference since even before I got into the business, into the Alliance, and with work and being a single dad, I just kept making excuses, and using all that stuff as excuses. I had the excuse-itis, and finally, when I joined the business, he told me how important it was. He said, look, I don't care about anything else other than you need to get to conference. You need to make it happen. If you need to borrow the money, if you need to, go out there. And at the time I was, cutting grass, I was doing all types of stuff, work. And at the end of the day, we got me out there. And after being there the first night, because I'm not going to lie, I was kind of skeptic at first, because you hear of these conferences and you think, okay, what are they going to try and, you just think it's cliche. But when you get there, especially the first night, it's like you kind of then begin to understand, okay, So now I see why it's such a big deal, you know, and it's just, if there's any doubt, the main thing it did for me was if there's any doubt in your mind, like if you can do this business, if you know, if it's for you, if you'd be successful at doing it, you know, when you get out there, you hear so many stories, you hear, so you meet so many different people from all walks of life, you know, that you know, some people going through the same thing you're going through, some people going through worse things that you're going through, and you know, see people how their beginnings were, you know, similar and even more different, and you just see the camaraderie and you see the success, you know, and you get the raw truth, you know, you hear that stuff that you're battling with, that other people are battling with it, you know, and you're not the only one. And the good thing about that is that it comes with solutions, you know, so it's just a huge learning experience. And I came back fired up. You know, I think when we left conference, me, Brian, and our crew, we were so fired up that we were in the airport waiting to get on the plane, and we were dialing, setting appointments. So when we got back to Tampa, we could run business. That's how fired up we were. So, you know, it was cool. I'm excited, you know, to get out there. You know, this year, you know, we got the tickets soon as they went on. They got offered, you know, because they're cheaper. We got them there, and you know, we made it happen for the hotel and everything, and the rental. You know, things are tight, you know, with the holidays and with Christmas and everything and the New Year. But you know what? Like my daddy always said, where there's a will, there's a way. You know, so we'll make it happen. I mean, half of our crew, we use credit card points, you know, to get the hotels and to get the rentals. So we're just excited to go out there, Mike, and we can't wait, you know.
I know it's crazy, brother. You know, I remember going to my first one. I haven't missed one yet. And here's the crazy thing, Lewis. Every successful person that's in our business attends these.
Right.
And it's never convenient. You said it. Going to something is never convenient. So when I start doing things that aren't convenient, guess what's happening? I'm getting better. You're getting better. The people that are going that's not convenient are getting better. It's right. You know, it's like they have money to go on a vacation, but they don't have money to get themselves better. And that's right. The thing that I don't understand. And you know, like I had one conference, it was in Raleigh. And I remember because my mom died about 4 days prior to the conference. I went to the conference with a little pity patty on my, you know, I have thinking I was going to pity myself. And I went up to Tim Gold and I told him what he said. And Tim goes, "That's awesome, man. She's been released." And, you know, it just put a whole different perspective on things. And I can't, I've heard every excuse in the world. Every excuse in the world. Here's an excuse. Do you want to get better? What is it you really want? Right. And just remember this. I've gone through the problems. Lewis, you've got, every one of the people that are attending a conference have gone through something. And it's the conference that made it better. And I wish there was a better word than conference. You know, a conference does not sound sexy. Convention does not sound sexy. Nothing sounds sexy about this, but everything about it is sexy. And it just changes everything. How long have you been in the business, Lewis?
So I've been in the business, I want to say about a year, but I wasn't doing it full time. I had a full-time job with Bank of America, and I in 2022, from January to June, I had maybe sold 3 policies. You know, I wasn't doing it, not even part-time. I decided to fire my job in June, and I went full-time from June to December. And within that 6-month period, I got over $32,000 deposited into my bank account, you know, in 6 months. So, you know, it's definitely, if you do the work, if you plug in with the people, if you lean in, you know, and you like you said, you decide to get better, you know, because it's not going to happen overnight. One of my main problems was I was scared to mess up. I don't like to fail. You know, I don't know anybody that really likes to, but me personally, I don't like failing to the point to if there was a thought, you know, I kind of will stay away from it because, you know, hey, if I can't do it, I can't fail, you know? So, you know, but what I'm learning in this business is, you know, to fail quick so you can succeed quicker, you know, and that's pretty much what it's all about, you know?
You know, it's crazy. I've talked to people and they said they've gone to college. And I said, well, how much is college? You know, they'll say $40,000. I'm confused. We have our own college here that's only $500, and with a hotel and a flight. Let's say it costs $1,000, but that $1,000 you're going to end up making a heck of a lot more money than you made from your degree that you're not using because you got an insurance license.
Yep. Wow.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
You know what I mean? So now you qualified for Ireland your first year, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Well. It's according to the leaderboard, it doesn't look like I did, but I guess, like you said, we'll find out at convention. I'm going to convention just to see if I hit Ireland, really.
That's a good idea right there, because you know what you should do? You should go there with some kilts. When they announce your name, you could go up there with kilts and start playing a bagpipe or something.
That's right. Let me see if they got it on Amazon Prime, if it'll get here in time.
You're running appointments today, right, brother?
Yes, sir. Yep. We got a whole step. We got appointments set up for today, the whole day. We're running business here. You know, it's only a half a day because we got to pick up little man. Y'all can see he's not with me right now, so we got to wrap it up. But then I'm running appointments tomorrow, too. Full day tomorrow. You know, we got, 8 to 8 tomorrow.
Let me ask you this, Louis. Do you have a game plan when you're in the comp when you're in Dallas? Do you have an idea what you want to accomplish or who you want to see?
Yes, sir. So as far as who I want to see, I mean, I want to, I'm going out there, you know, for the camaraderie and the fun, but really it's business. You know, everything it's business. So I'm going out there to plug in with the providers, you know what I mean? Kind of just mingle with them. And like Andy Albright said, you know, make friends with them before you need them, you know, meet them before you need them, and just to kind of rub elbows, really, just to network with people. That's really what my goal to go out there and do. You know, last year plugging in with people. I mean, you swap ideas across the table. You you find out new places to get leads from. You make friends with the providers, you know, and they'll sometimes give you their personal number and say, if there's a problem, hey, give me a call directly, you know. And right. I've had to pull that card a couple of times this year. And had I not gone to the convention last year, I wouldn't have had those guys' cell phone numbers now, you know. So
it's crazy because people look at this as expensive. You actually made more money from that investment of going to your first conference.
Oh, 100%. 100%. It was a huge investment. I mean, more than double, probably more than triple, you know, my return. I mean, in just a couple of months, you know, so it was good. It was good.
That's crazy talk there, brother. Man, we are so proud of you. Your first year being the example. And I know people want to meet you when you're out there. So let's get to Australia or wherever. Where are we going? New Zealand. New Zealand?
You said that. I got chills. Let's do it.
And you know, and then the points you get. I mean, they're bribing us to go. You know what I mean? And
it's like almost crazy. Half of it is already given to you.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll make it work. And proud of you. Thanks for getting on the call and sharing. And I want to bring up our next guest.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. She's amazing. All right. And why do I say she's amazing? Because I treat these next two, I treat this one and the other one like they're my daughters. Okay. So let's bring up Michelle Colon. Michelle, where are you?
Hey, old man. How are you?
Hey, what you doing, buddy?
Good.
Good. So you qualified for Cancun or Aruba. Where'd we go?
The first year?
Yeah.
We went to Aruba, yeah.
Aruba, okay. And then you've also qualified for Ireland, correct?
Yes.
And you went to your first conference. Was it easy?
Easy to go?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Like it wasn't at the time the idea. It wasn't my ideal weekend that I wanted to do. Or I think we drove there. It was like 9 hours to North Carolina.
That's right. I forgot. You
Yeah.
had some crazy people in the car with you too.
We did. You know, I was going to mention that when Stephanie hops on here, she knows I have a little bit of PTSD from that drive. And it definitely wasn't ideal. I'll say that. Yeah.
Was it worth it?
It was absolutely worth it. It was just like a whole other world that I never experienced. I've never been thrown into an environment where it's like everybody is thriving or they're wanting you to thrive, or it's just good energy. They're speaking life into you over here. They're doing this over here. You got people who are making 7 figures, 6 figures, like, you know, just sometimes even in months, you know what I mean? And I've never, ever been in any kind of space like that before. So it was just eye-opening, honestly.
What did you think? What did you think it was going to be when you signed up? Did you think it was going to be sexy or boring? What did you think?
I think everybody has this this vision of what insurance looks like. Then you say insurance conference and you're like, what a snooze. You know, like it's just what you think. And then you get here and there's like fireworks or whatever, and the guns that shoot the freaking air out of it. There's awards, there's people giving out money, the food is delicious, the music is great. Like you're just like, is this like BT award show? Is this the VMAs? Is this like, I mean, it just is. It's not your typical insurance. It's not your granddaddy's insurance, right? No. Mm-mm.
So it's nothing like you imagined.
Oh no, definitely not.
And have you missed one since?
No. Mm-mm. Not one since.
How long you been with the company now?
My first conference was in January 2020. So this is year 3 for me.
And you were working part-time with us back then, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to brag on you just for a second, okay? You were working for FedEx full-time, right?
I was, yeah.
And here's something about Michelle that some of you may or may not know already. Part-time, she made $90,000 her first year. Okay? So if we're sitting in this place and we're saying, oh me, I can't afford it. Michelle was working 2 jobs and this one part-time. Been on 2 trips, and you've had other people go there as well on your team,
definitely.
correct?
Definitely. And I think that like, one, I still grow. Like every time I go, like you had asked Lewis before, does he have a game plan? I'm like, I already got my eyes on people. You know, like you go there, you're spending all that money, right? And you're taking the time out of your weekend to get there. So you make the most of it. You know, you go there with the intent to sit down and get your questions answered, whomever that is, because everybody there wants to help you, right? So if you got to wait by the side just to get a few minutes in with Andy Riddle or Andy Albright, or even you, Mike, you know, if you got to get a few minutes just to pick their brain or figure out what you should do or what they did when they were where you were at, it's so worth it. As long as you use the event to your, as long as you use the event for your benefit, not only is the training good and the leadership is good, you know, and the carriers, if you work the system there, you have no idea how just like getting to know their families, you know, just those little things are going to help you in your business. Not just so they could do you a favor, but when you go on those trips, they're like, let's take Michelle and Cassie out to dinner. You know, it's all of these things that matter. I met my closest friends at these events. It's just, guys, you can't even put a price on it. And even if it went up, even if it goes up $1,000, whatever, you make so much more back. I mean, it's priceless, honestly.
So let me ask you that. You went to college, right?
Ugh, I did, yeah.
Yeah. College costs a lot more than this conference, right?
Oh my God, yes.
So what would you if we could get one more person to go, what would you tell that person right now? Other than your story, what would you tell that person?
Like, if you are on the fence and you're like, is this really worth it? You know, I'm not even sure if this event is for me. In this environment, you're not going to grow just insurance wise. You're going to become a better person. You're going to become a better mom. You're going to become, if you're still working, you're going to become a better employee. You're going to become a better spouse. You're going to become a better leader. You can take these skills and apply it anywhere. I'd say you go, and then you tell me, you come back and you tell me if it was really worth it.
Ooh. That sounds like a money back guarantee.
I mean, hey, if you sit there and you don't get anything out of it, you just go tell your upline. My people tell me, see how you gotta catch it. But if you don't get anything out, you'd have to be bananas. Seriously, if you don't get anything out of that weekend and the bonus points, like what? We didn't get those bonus points.
It's more fun than it is work, isn't it?
Yeah, I look forward to this. We're texting. I just was on texting Kate Marisi. I'm like, I can't wait to see you, friend. It's like, it's just these things that you just look forward to seeing the people again, just getting that fire, starting off the year right. Like, do something different, because if you're here, it's whatever you were doing before wasn't working. Try it this way and see what happens.
You have a crew coming with you this time too, don't you?
I do. I'm super excited about them. My guys are coming. And they're excited too. They're excited. And, put your people, if you got people coming, make sure that you take your people around and introduce them to people that you want them to get in front of. That's super important. Don't just leave them high and dry in the corner, because they're not going to get the most out of it. So I can't wait to pony them around. Meet this person. It's going to be super exciting.
That's awesome. And you're going to Ireland. Now Michelle is one of the top. What are you, top 15?
I think I'm like probably like 20-ish.
20? Top 20 in the country. Okay? So here, we have one guy that's been in the business a year that swears by this. We have this young girl right here who's top 20 in the country endorsing this. I don't want to use the word convention, but this event. How's that? And endorsing it by the fact that she's growing and everybody that goes grows, and that she's made many, many friends there, because Michelle is very, very outgoing. Everybody loves Michelle. Stop it. Look at her. And
Mike.
Oh, stop it, Mike. And but yeah, I'm pretty fired up about Michelle and Lewis. And anything else you want to add to that, Michelle?
Guys, I look forward to meeting you there. Come up to me. I'd love to help anybody else. You have no idea what your story is going to do for other people. So that's all I got.
You got your airline tickets and hotel and everything already arranged, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of an important thing to get done. So.
Yes, it is.
All right, Michelle, I'll let you get back. Now I'm going to bring up our next guest. Most of you have heard of this person. Her name is Stephanie Rodriguez. What are you doing, Stephanie?
She promoted me before you finished introducing me. Hi, guys. Hanging my bracelet.
So, Stephanie, you're what number are you in the company?
I'm going to go ahead and speak number 3 into existence, but I'm pretty sure number 5.
Well, wait, time out. Which one is it?
Well, Tia took down the results as of, 2 weeks ago. So we don't know. And I love you, Tia, and I know it's your job, but it's really difficult not knowing the final numbers for a few weeks.
Well, that's why you're going to the event, to find out if you're number 3 or number 5 in the country.
Sure is.
So you went to your first event. How long ago?
It was Family Reunion 2019. So July 2019 was my first conference.
Was it convenient?
No, no, poor Mike. It was not convenient. At the time, my kids were a lot smaller, and I had my grandma. She was still alive, and she had dementia. And I was, I ran the house. I didn't have my parents down here. It was very difficult to maneuver everything. It took a lot of planning and help from my upline. If it wasn't for Big Mike, I would have never made it there.
What was your production prior to the conference, prior to that family reunion?
I think I joined in January of 2019, but I only had done, I think, 12,000 annual premium from January to July. So I really didn't do much of anything. I didn't understand, but the one thing I did do right was I was going to the hot spots, and that's where I heard everybody's excitement. You guys were just about to go to Paris too. You were just going to Paris. You were talking about conference, and I had FOMO. I was like, I do not want to miss out. But at the same time, as a new person, it was really difficult to ask for help and, tell you that I wanted to go. But thank God for you guys encouraging me and asking me and, helping me, you and Amy. Without you guys, I would not still be here if it wasn't for you guys.
One more. So you three have been one more. All right. And what does that mean? It's a big deal. All right. We're talking about the number 3 or number 5 position. We're talking about the top 20 with Michelle. We're talking about another guy, Lewis, who just qualified for his trip. One more. What inspired you the most about your first conference?
It was hearing everybody's story, because now most everybody knows me, but for those who don't, I have a really colorful past, as I like to say. And I spent my whole life never really feeling like I belonged anywhere. And then I found AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and I just celebrated my 7 years. But then I found you guys, and what I saw at the conference was I saw Paul Roberts tell his story, Diane Lampy, Debbie Ben, Tia and Terry Edwards, Jake and Bellcraft, and all those people talked at my first convention, and they told their stories of, what it was like then, what happened, and what it's like now. Very similar to how we tell our stories in AA. And I knew I was home. I knew I had found my people. And then I met Tim Goad, and his whole slogan was, you can belong before you know how to behave. And I was like, they'll accept me for my craziness. And Albright always says, that Miranda Lambert song, hide your crazy and act like a lady. It's the opposite. And so that stuff speaks to me, because I'm still not real right in the head, but I think that's what makes me a little bit crazy and successful, because I'm willing to go to a conference where I didn't know anybody and, find somebody to stay in a hotel room with, and ask Michelle Coleman, who I really didn't even know, to bring that one guy that she drove, and, I don't know, we were just laughing about it, but it was quite the story. If you should ask her. When you see Michelle at convention, everybody go up and ask her about her experience. But that's what we do for each other here. We're a big family, and you're in. If you want to be in, you're in. We don't have to accept you. It's family. So you love your family no matter what. You may not always like your family, but you help your family out. And that's what the Alliance is. And I mean, that first convention changed my life. I went that in July, and then August, I think I brought in $5,500, more than I used to make in 3 months at my previous jobs. And I mean, that was it. The switch was flipped, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And that's what I did.
You know what's crazy about that whole thing? You were a sometimes person before that convention, before that family reunion. And now, here's the crazy thing. you're in the top 5. You're either the number 3 or number 5 in the country. And, you know, you've always had the talent. It's just that the conference brought the talent out. And that's what this thing does, man. I mean, it was not convenient for you to go. I get it. But you were worth having to go. And that's the power of one more, folks. Try to get one more. We got one more last night. Brian and I got one more yesterday. And we're trying to help people, you know. And let me ask you this, Stephanie. You got people going as well, right?
Yeah, got a handful of people going.
And you've helped some of those people, right?
Yep, I sure have.
It's always payback. It's always, you know, pay it forward. And now, what are you most excited about this conference?
Well, A, finding out if I'm number 3, but B, seeing my whole family. I think that all of our get-togethers should be called family reunion, because it just is. Like, the people who I saw when I first started, you know, that changed my whole way of thinking, because I came from a place where I never thought I could have more than minimum wage. I really truly believed that you had to have, you know, a PhD or be a professional baseball player to make the kind of money that I dreamed about. Now those people are my friends. You know, I talked to Paul Roberts, like, that man changed my life at my first conference, and he probably still doesn't even know, you know. And Tim Goad and you guys, like, the closeness, the relationships that I've made with everybody. You know, Diane Lampy, she was at G5 last weekend, and it was just so good to sit and talk with her. And, you know, I'm most excited about catching up with everybody and seeing what's changed since the last few months. You know, we haven't really seen each other, and, you know, talk about Ireland. And it is good to get training in, and I always need training. I always need to grow and learn how I can tweak one little thing to get better. But I really go because I have the fear of missing out on all the fun stuff. Like, we had Vanilla Ice at one of our last conferences. Who does that? We do. And so we get to do these crazy fun things, and all we have to do is show up, and we're accepted and put the effort in, and people love on us.
Amen to that. Amen to that. So you want to hear it be called more of a family reunion than a convention?
Yep.
Yeah, a convention sounds so boring, and it's so much different. And now, Stephanie, you were doing a lot of things prior to doing insurance, work-wise. Has this has been the highest paid profession you've been in, business-wise, right?
Yep.
And can you say it's probably a lot has to be attributed to the conference? It's all started there? Your first event?
Yes, 110%, because I did do a lot of things, and I was totaling up like a couple months ago. I thought about all the schooling that I've done. You know, it took me 5 years to get an associate's degree because of my bouncing around and having Angelo at the time. But I mean, on top of that, all the other schooling I did like 8 or 9 years of schooling, and never found a job that paid me more than like $2,000 a month. That was pretty much all I was making. And then I took me like 5 or 6 days to do this pre-licensing course. I passed the test, and, you know, boom, I have a license to print money in a week, when I had just spent like 9 years of my life trying to find something that I wasn't going to end up under a bridge.
That's crazy talk right there, girl. I mean, our last event, you brought your father, didn't you?
I did. Yep. My dad's great.
He was pretty proud daddy, wasn't he?
He is.
He was a pretty proud daddy.
That's one of the most special moments of our life. It was so good. And I brought Angelo, my 13-year-old. Him and my dad came, and it's a family company, but had I never gone to that first event, I wouldn't have grasped the gravity of what I really had in front of me. I wouldn't have been able to understand that I could truly have a 6-7 figure income. I would have never believed you, because I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, but I didn't know what life insurance was. I didn't even know life insurance was a thing. Had no idea. And then somebody gave me my house. Like, I had $0. Let's be clear. I have a beautiful home, but I was beyond broke when some smart person decided to give me this house. Me and my grandma, we bought it together before she died. And I kept getting these little cards in the mail. They were coming in white, then yellow, and then they were pink. And it's like, final notice, get your mortgage protection. So I called my mom. I said, Mom, I got this pink notice in the mail. I think I did something wrong. I said, am I supposed to get mortgage protection? She goes, well, if grandma dies, it will pay her part of the mortgage, or however much the mortgage is for. And I was like, oh, well, that's important, because I could never at that time have afforded to pay this on my own. I wasn't even working. Because we had just had Mikey. And so that was the first time I ever knew that life insurance was a thing. And even then, I didn't know it was like a career. When Greg came to sell me the mortgage insurance or mortgage protection, he was like, that guy, he was halfway out my front door when he turned around and said, oh yeah, you know anyone that wants to make $500 a week part-time? And I was like, hello. You know, I had just been a stay-at-home mom for however many months. And like, that was more than enough for me, because I'd been working since I was 17. But I mean, that one sentence changed my life. And you just never know whose life you could change. I talk to people all the time who ask people days before conference, you want to come to conference? And they're crazy enough to do it. And those are the people who are successful, because they do what it takes to get what they need to get to take care of their family. They don't make excuses for how hard it was, or, you know, that there was a hurricane, hurricane what? We live in Florida. So whatever it is that is holding somebody back, there is no excuse that is too great to not make it to conference if you don't want to live bare minimum for the rest of your life. If you do, that's okay. But if you want more out of life, get in the car. It's I think a 16 or 20-hour drive from Florida. You know, it's whatever you need to do to make it happen. There's no excuse for not being at conference. You went when your mom died. I had all kinds of stuff going on, and really no child care. You know, people have deaths in the family all the time. Gus, before he passed, he had like a heart attack and then brain surgery and was still at conference. You know, the people that you meet here, the things that you learn, this conference, I will absolutely guarantee will change your life. And I would give anybody the deal. Like, you get yourself there. If you don't get something out of it, I will reimburse you your entire trip, because there's not a doubt in my mind that this is the thing that flips people's switches. It just is. It's everything about it rolled up into one.
Dang, that's a strong endorsement. I'm going to add something to that, but they have to sit through the whole conference.
Yeah.
Just not go there and stay in the hotel. I mean, you got to attend the conference.
Yes.
So now are you going there with a plan of some type? What's your goal when you go there?
My goal is to get my people around the top people in the company, because getting around the fire was one thing that I learned that got me better quicker. So my primary goal is to get Sam and John and Rick and Tony, and hopefully Brenda, get them all around the people who I think, you know, they'll learn the most from. And that's something I learned from you. My first time bringing people there, that's what you pointed out to me that I should do. And so I try and do that now, because it's the connection that they're going to make. They might hear one thing that it flips for them. It's just, it takes one thing and everybody's different. So I really want to see how I can help them get the most out of it.
And also try to figure out if you're number 3 or number 5.
Yeah.
Wow. So if we could try to get one more person, it's in your arena to get one more person, what would you tell that person right now?
I would tell that person, if you ever thought it wasn't possible for you to have a life beyond your wildest dreams, then I can show you differently. And if you just follow a few simple suggestions, I can help you get what you want. Come on, bring somebody. If we get what we want by helping people get what they want. And that's what I have learned.
Good point. Very good point. And you're an example. I like it. Are you going to go there in kilts like I told Lewis?
No, but I'll bring my scarf.
That a girl. So, Stephanie, thank you so much. You three are an example that other people should listen to. Why should they listen to? Because you have results, and you're setting an example by doing the things that people are telling people to do. So this is how I like to wrap up this call. If you haven't gotten your ticket, get it. What's holding you back? What is it you want? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things that we do that are fun and to learn about the cruise points. And well, I don't have a chance to hit the cruise. Okay, do you want to go to Sydney, or do you want a new car? What is it you want? Go for what you want. Don't go because I'm telling you to go. Go because you want something, and because your want's going to be more important than anything else. And it's not going to be convenient. I get it. But every time you do something that's not convenient, you grow, you get better. And that's like a diet, It's not convenient for me not to eat strawberry shortcake. I'm sorry. I like strawberry shortcake. But if I don't eat it, I'm going to get healthy. It wasn't convenient for me to go to the gym this morning at 6 o'clock this morning. Okay, I get it. But if I don't go to the gym, I'm not going to make it another 50 years, okay? So, yeah, I said 50. So, Clay Murtis, listen to that, brother. And, but yeah, guys, I'm telling you, it's worth it. I'm trying to put examples up here to get one more. There's no reason in the world why we don't fill an arena full of people. None. We should have a stadium full of people. And because right now, the world is in a screwed up place. And we could change that. And, man, I would tell you this, and every one of these 3 people have told you the same thing. They told you their story, and they told you how it makes it work. So I know it's not convenient, and I'm going to push that not convenient part hard. But the non-convenient part is what makes you the best. So I look forward to seeing you all next week, and make it a great day, guys. Talk to you all later.